Now that we have experienced stillness in our lives as a beautiful part of our faith and keep the commandment of Jesus Christ of remaining watchful in prayer, we must also understand why we remain watchful in the first place, that we would overcome the darkness of the spirit of the flesh. In order to better understand how the ego spirit of the flesh came to be, we must go back to the very first time that we ever felt shame, guilt, anger, or traumatized in our lives, of which caused us to create the mask of the ego spirit of the flesh. Spiritually, God reveals this to us since the beginning in Genesis, as it is the very first time that we ever ate from the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, as did Adam and Eve, causing them to die because they were depressed about yesterday and anxious for tomorrow, when all we truly have is here and now, and whatever hasn't killed us has only made us stronger. It was when we first ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil that we were deceived by the serpent, as the first deception being in that eating from the fruit we would become like God, thus leaving the paradise of God to play as God, in thinking we know better than God for our lives, believing that we know good or evil for ourselves through the mask of the spirit of the flesh in believing thoughts, as thoughts are the cause of an untold amount of pain and suffering in the world, from building us up just to bring us down. They give us hope to take away the hope. They tell us that we are good only to tell us that we are bad. They will have you feeling depressed if you are not living up to them, or anxious for tomorrow when all we truly have is here and now, and here and now we have it all. As God encourages us to remain in His presence, that is the present moment. It is in living life through the ego spirit of the flesh in believing thoughts that we are heavy laden and burdened, and it is for this reason that Jesus Christ tells us, as it is written, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Not only is the burden with God light to carry, but is also simply light. That is to watch how God takes over and fights all of your battles for you, that you would trust Him in the light of Christ. We must also be able to see that the one common denominator about everything that we've ever done in our lives, that we absolutely hate about ourselves, is the very fact that we couldn't help ourselves but to carry out the act. Thus, how are you to judge yourself for something that you couldn't help yourself but to do? It is for this precise reason that we remain watchful of the inward thoughts, for every sin that has ever been committed on the earth has been done through the spirit of the flesh in believing thoughts, as anyone can see this for themselves in stillness. As we take every thought to the obedience of Christ, we watch every thought coming and going within us, and what you will be left with is you surrounded by all these thoughts that you didn't even make yourself. And when you know yourself, you will know God, for God dwells within you, not only in a book. Know yourselves, brothers and sisters, that we become one in the body of Christ and in the army of God.